Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. I call to order the regular meeting of Mayor and Council of Englewood Cliffs. Today is April 12th, 2017. It's 8:18 p.m. I'm sorry that we're starting late. We had a caucus meeting run over time. So I'm also not promising that I'm going to catch up on time, but I'll do my best. Have a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Mayor Kranjak,
Here.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Here.
E. Park,
Here.
O.
Here.
McMorrow,
Here.
M. Park,
Here.
Wu,
Here.
Borough Attorney,
Present.
Superintendent of DPW,
Here.
and Municipal Clerk. Everyone's present, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to observe a moment of silence for several members of our community who passed away since our last meeting. Mr. John Patrick Avalone, Lucy Esquiblulu, and if there's anyone else that I'm missing, please just yell out their names.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there was a resident from Summit Street who passed away on April 4th, Mr. Chi Young Chun.
Okay. All right, let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Also would like to mention that last week, on April 6th, we commemorated the line-of-duty death of former Police Chief Frederick Whitty with his family, our police department, the Bergen County Chiefs Association. We welcomed him. We had a wreath-laying ceremony. The family was very appreciative. Just a couple words that I said were that we are joined today by Chief Whitty's sons, Paul, daughter Teresa, son Warren, and grandson Stephen, who's actually a Bergen County Sheriff's officer, to whom we continue to express our gratitude for their father's valiant, professional, honest, truthful, and courteous service to our borough and its residents for 27 years. So that's just an excerpt. The speeches were very nice and laudatory, and it was a nice commemoration of a very tragic event. Madam Clerk, would you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the press and posted as required. Date and time of this meeting was legally given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available to the public upon the completion of typing and proofreading by the municipal clerk.
Okay, thank you. I have two proclamations that I would like to read into the record. The first is the Armenian Genocide Commemoration 2017. Whereas since 1915, April 24th of each year has been imprinted in the memory of the Armenian people worldwide, for it was then that the mass genocide of the Armenian people began in the Ottoman Turkish Empire, the first such genocide in the 20th century. And 2017 marks the 102nd anniversary of the historic tragedy. And whereas Armenian families were uprooted from their ancestral homeland, brutally exposed to all kinds of indignities with hundreds of thousands slain, resulting in more than half of the Armenian people killed, and whereas recognition of the 102nd anniversary of this genocide is crucial to guarding against the repetition of future genocide and educating people about the atrocities connected to these horrific events. And whereas Armenian Americans have greatly enriched our society through their leadership in business, agriculture, academia, government, and the arts. And whereas our thoughts offered in memory of the Armenian martyrs of 1915 will serve to remind governments of the world that persecution, torture, and killing must cease forever. Now, I, Mario M. Kranjak, Mayor of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2017, and every April 24th thereafter as Armenian Genocide Commemoration in the Borough of Englewood Cliffs. We live in a great country and in a great town as well, so we have to commemorate those things. Other people have been less fortunate than us. There's another proclamation, Arbor Day 2017. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas 2017 is the 145th anniversary of the holiday, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Mary Lynn Kranjak, Mayor of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, do hereby proclaim April 28, 2017 as the 145th anniversary celebration of Arbor Day in the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Okay. Go plant a tree. Let's approve the minutes of the special meetings of February 2nd, 2017, and the regular meeting of, special meeting of February 27, 2017 also. Do you have a motion to approve those?
Point of order, Mayor. Lisa, do you want to carry those minutes on the 27th? Did you have a chance to look at that email? 27th, February 27th.
You sent me an email?
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we're carrying that one.
Just 27th,
All
I
right.
would just carry it. I think you may have to make an adjustment on something.
Let's have a motion to approve February 2nd, 2017 special meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We received correspondence from Eric M. Bernstein, it's attorney-client privileged, and from resident Lauren Eastwood. Claims for the period. Can I have the Finance Committee chairperson
Yes,
address
Mayor,
those?
I've reviewed the claims for the period March 9th to April 12th, and I move that they be paid.
Second.
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Yeah, any discussion on the claims?
Okay.
So there was a claim, I was signing checks yesterday, and it seems that there was a block billing from the borough attorney. Yeah, it was,
What's the law mean? I don't know what that means.
so on February 8th, there was a bill, there's a bill from Semro, and it was 7.1 hours of work that day. So, and it didn't have, like, all the other billing was just, it shows what it was exactly for. This was a block bill, like, it just said receipt review of, like, Lions lease, and then it said, discussions with, Borough Council President, and then also,
All in one?
yeah, just one
I thought
paragraph.
it was 5.9, it was, I mean...
No, it was
I
7.1.
think there were like 30 items listed though, or something.
No, it was just that one, and so I actually signed it, but I crossed it out, so I don't know, I'd ask for some more information on that.
Okay, February 8th.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look at it. And I'll send it to the borough clerk, or borough administrator, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Since we're on that subject anyway, do we have an idea of where we're at with our borough attorney?
Well, if I
Like, are
might,
we on a time limit with your firm, or?
Yeah, we are month to month, we are holdover, and you've been asking, so I think this needs to be on the agenda for the regular meeting in May, and it needs to be resolved one way or another, how the borough is going to proceed.
Okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
So let's get that on the May agenda.
can we, so we have a motion on the floor in a second, right? So,
Pay the bills.
But I would like to hold over the bill for the borough attorney until we get more information on that claim.
The way that the administrator, and she's not here tonight, she was not able to make it, the way that she wants to handle any bills that have questions, just send her an email, and they will not mail it out until you get the answers you want.
Okay, so we're not going to pay for that day
Until
we get more
She
information.
prefers that we not ever, whoever the vendor is, that we don't pull checks. I did ask her that question today, how she wants to handle that. Not to pull up any specific check, let her know of your question, and then she'll get you your answers.
Wait, so we're not pulling the check, we're approving all the claims?
Yes,
And
that is
she's
the
not,
way
she's going to hold it over?
She will hold it,
Right,
Right,
but we're
just send
approving
her.
all the claims.
yes.
But how do we approve something that we don't really know the specific to?
Okay, well, and I appreciate, Ellen, going forward, the proper procedures. If you have a question, first of all, never sign a check if you have a question. I thought I saw your signature on there. I did not see it crossed out. Your signature was on there. So.
No, I crossed it out.
Okay, I didn't see it crossed out. So anyway, if you have a question at the time that you view it, you don't wait till the council meeting to bring it up publicly like this. You try and get your answer, obviously, ahead of time so that you can get your answer and be able to vote and do whatever you need to do. Give Anne Marie the opportunity to get you your answer. Clearly, right here, she can't answer your question. I do remember that specific portion. I had some questions also, and in that paragraph, I think there were, if I'm not exaggerating, 20 items that were listed all together. So if what you're saying is you rather than be separated out, that's something as a procedure, we can ask them to separate it out so that it's separated better for you instead of putting one large paragraph.
Right.
But that's something for you and Catherine and the borough attorney to figure out on that one item you're asking about. There
Do
were a
you want me
couple.
to email Catherine then? Is that?
Yes, please, yeah. Just let her know that you have a question on that, and you have a question on how you'd like it separated going forward, because she had some questions herself on other ones, and I specifically asked her, and I'm not going to get into the vendors right now, who they were. She stated to me, approve the bills, because otherwise, we don't like to hold, unless it's an incorrect bill. I mean, clearly she did the work, but you're questioning on how it was formatted on the bill. Okay, I'm sure you're not accusing the borough attorney of not doing the work. So what Catherine says, it's not proper that we hold back money from our vendors. So you email her your question, and then she'll hold it until you get the answers you want.
Okay.
If that's okay. Thank you.
We have a vote?
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes?
O.
Yes?
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa. Passes, Mayor.
Okay. A motion to open up to the public, please.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to call on members of the public who wish to speak to state your name and address. Before I call on anyone, though, there was one item on the agenda which I suspect will motivate people to speak, and I'll speak first. We as a council have agreed, or at least we all see eye to eye on this one issue, and that issue is that there's a problem with our public safety in terms of the departments that are involved in public safety. Why is there a problem? Well, we have 9 lawsuits, the litigations against the town involving our police department. That's a lot. 8 of those 9 actually involve police officers suing police officers, or police officers suing the borough, the council, yes, the mayor also. This is not a normal situation. I personally can certify to everyone here that this borough has paid every penny owed, given every benefit due to our police department. I, in fact, have had very minimal contact by design. Why? Because I'm not a police officer. I never was. I'm not in law enforcement. I leave that to professionals. But when I leave things to professionals, I expect the most of those professionals. So my contacts with the police department have been budget meetings, a couple last year, a couple this year, asking for reports of historic events that took place in the police department. What was the overtime last month? Is everybody safe? Have there been injuries? Those are historical. I don't direct. I don't tell. I don't tell people what to do. We have people who are in charge of the police department. We have people in charge of the fire department. The other thing I do is when citizens come up to the microphone here during public portion, or when they email me as mayor and say, look, Bayview's become a drag racing strip. People are running stop signs. Don't people know what a stop sign is in town? I will relay that to the appropriate authorities for them to deal with it. Not for me to deal with it, but for them to deal with it. So we as a council do see eye to eye on this. There is a problem. And I wanted to start a discussion tonight about how we solve the problem. We're not all going to agree, but I think we could all agree that there is a problem. The solutions vary. You'll see that there's discussion of a public safety director on the agenda. It could be a police director. It could be something else. I don't know. But one thing I could tell you is we're not going to continue like this. It's not fair. It's not fair to taxpayers. I don't know if you realize this, but our police budget represents 1/3 of our budget. We have 18 police officers making over $100,000. We have several over $200,000. Those are substantial salaries. Those are great careers. And this is a great town to be a police officer in. Okay? There is no war on cops in this town. That's somewhere else. Read Heather McDonald's book on that. It's tragic what is going on in America. And for the grace of God, that's not happening here, and I won't let that happen here. But what I do want is I want people to come to work, leave their politics at home, do your jobs. And this is what this is all about, because every one of these litigations, just about, I think maybe one isn't, is politically motivated. It's clear. It's clear on its face. When you have police officers suing each other and the town because one of the other officers came to work and allegedly swung a 6-foot harpoon knife over his head at police headquarters with police around and a video going on, and no one saw it. There's no video. There's no proof. But that's what allegedly happened in the one case. It happened before I was mayor, allegedly, but I'm still being held responsible for it because I created the unsafe workplace. I guess if I was mayor back then, you could argue, but I'm not in charge of workplace safety for police. The chief is. Just as the chief of fire is for his men. And I have the utmost gratitude for what they do. But this has got to stop. We can't have police officers suing, and this is also another case, where a police officer alleges that another police officer fell asleep at his keyboard because he was either intoxicated or on drugs.
I have a question to
No,
our
you-
attorney, Mayor.
You cannot
Can you
interrupt
be
me.
talking about these pending litigations?
Yes, I can.
Well,
You're out of order.
I'm asking
You're
a
out of order. I'm
question
going
to
to
the bar
continue.
attorney.
I'm
I'm
going to
only here to
continue.
protect the
So
town.
if
So
an
far,
officer...
nothing
This
that
is
the
all
mayor
public.
said is
This is all
confidential.
public, folks. You could pull this. Go to Bergen County. Go online. This is the ridiculous state of affairs. People read this and they laugh at our town. It's not acceptable. It's not fair. And it's an affront to democracy, okay? And to target your public officials, okay, the way this happened is not fair to them either. Okay, so here's what happens. One police officer, he interrupted me, alleges that another police officer fell asleep at his computer because he was on drugs or alcohol. And there's J's going across his screen. Can you imagine? This is our police department. And no one tests him. No one tests him for drugs or alcohol, okay? But by law, you're supposed to. But no one does. You know what happens instead? The borough gets sued. The borough gets sued. There's no proof, okay? The police union sues the town because allegedly it's an unsafe workplace for its members. I want our members to be safe. I want our police union to be safe. The chief is responsible for their safety. No one up here is responsible for their safety. What are we responsible for? We are responsible for giving you money to run the police department, the budget, okay? And we do that. And we may not always agree on how much is being spent on things, on overtime, whatever, but we give it to you, okay? But what we don't expect is that the taxpayers have to get hurt even more. Because now, we have to defend litigations, and we have to spend money on those, okay? Not acceptable. We have allegations of ticket fixing. People's voices on tapes. We hear it ourselves. There's a fact pattern in one of the lawsuits where one of our police officers, this is actually public, folks, one of our police officers says another police officer made him cry. Okay, so if you cry, but it's not actionable. You shouldn't be suing the town. It's an affront to democracy, what is happening. And I want to solve that. So we're starting a discussion tonight. I see a lot of police officers there. Maybe you guys have some ideas on how to solve the problem. Like I said, I've had very minimal contacts with your police department, okay? So everything that I'm seeing here could only be summed up to either personal vendettas, politics maybe? I'm not sure what else, but my goal here is to provide a good workplace for our police officers. These are careers that are held in the balance by the decisions of leadership. We have to protect those careers. These people have families. They need these jobs. We appreciate them being here. And I'm open to discussion, guys. The other problem that we have is in the 9 litigations, and I just confirmed this with Lizette, our borough clerk. Well, when you have litigations, each side gets to ask the other side questions. It's called discovery. Discovery could take different forms. It could be interrogatories, which are written questions with written answers. You're smiling, sounds like you might have had some. Document production. People have to produce documents that are relevant to the issues in the case. And depositions. What happens is we have an insurance company that pays part of our defenses usually. And the insurance companies appoint lawyers. The lawyers get requests from the other side for us to produce documents. In the 9 cases that we have, only one attorney representing the borough has contacted the clerk for information. Okay, and that's one of the lawyers I told how to do that. It's a relatively new case. All the other lawyers go anywhere they want in the borough. We don't know what's being produced. We don't know how it's being produced, when it was created, if it's relevant, if it's not relevant. We don't know. You know, it doesn't make sense. So a public safety director would also be in charge of that aspect of litigations. I'm just checking my notes. We also had racial profiling issues last year. Okay, so that said, I want to hear from people, if this is what you're here for. And if there's anything else you want to speak about, we're happy to speak to you also. I know there's an easement issue that we have to deal with tonight also. All right, so anybody wants to come up, we're all ears. We need solutions. You guys gonna do this together?
Oh, the great love interest. I love you.
Good evening. Fire Chief George Camones. Fire department's been here for over 100+ years. Our job is to protect citizens and property. We're not part of this rhetoric. We don't care about this rhetoric. All we want to do is our job. Let me finish, okay? 24/7, 365 days a year. We're here for the people. Haven't missed a call in 100+ years. Last year, we had St. Michael's Villa. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got hurt. Firemen or civilians. Back in 1990, we had 333 Silver, lost the whole building. Nobody got hurt, not even civilians, okay? Couldn't protect the property, but we protected life, and that's it, okay? You had a caucus meeting in there today, talking about this public safety director. You didn't invite a police chief, you didn't invite a fire chief, you didn't invite fire prevention. You're talking about our lives, our jobs, okay? And it's not my job. I'm here, I'm a resident, just like everybody else is, okay? I don't have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to miss Christmas with my kids. I don't have to miss anything, okay? But I'm here, okay? Let me finish, okay? You got a picture there, fire department started years ago, same thing. Didn't miss a call. But now we're being drawn into this, for what point? Send somebody that doesn't even know anything about our department or our town, okay? I don't know if you have somebody picked. I've gotten calls from Fort Lee and Leonia. They know who picked. Rumors, okay? But I'm just saying, doesn't know our town, doesn't know our fire department. I live with that.
Well, actually, I should say that Chief Ramones has actually been a pleasure to work with. I know it's difficult for him sometimes for different reasons, but he's been nothing but a professional when I deal with him and his men. I'm very appreciative of everything you do. Thank you, Chief. St. Michael's Villa Fire, I was there first watching you guys operate. You guys did a fantastic job, and you coordinated, I think, 12 or 13 other fire departments. And our police department was also there to help. But when we look at public safety, as a council, we have the right to meet privately, and we will certainly involve anyone that's relevant in those discussions. As you got to say tonight, I appreciate you getting up there and saying everything you did. Anybody else? Oh, by the way, there's no decision that's been made for public. This is a discussion, okay, which is probably why we're all screaming at each other right now. It's a discussion, and in order to have a public safety director, there'd have to be an ordinance. And to have an ordinance, there has to be a public portion where people get to speak about the ordinance. Now, it's interesting, you know, back in 2006, the former mayor and the current chief of police were supportive of a police director being appointed. There was an ordinance drafted, and I think it was during the public, after the first reading, but it never passed for whatever reason. I think there was a change in leadership at that time. But this is not novel or new. I think what happens is when public safety departments have issues, sometimes a police director or a public safety director is in order. And I'm happy to know that the current police chief and the former mayor supported that as well at that time. Anybody else?
I'm just confused. I'm new to this. I'm just hearing these issues for the first time.
Your name and address.
Heidi Skolnick.
Address.
I'm sorry, ma'am, you need your
Your address.
Really, everyone needs to know.
Yeah, no, sorry.
We all know who you are.
10 Stanford.
Okay.
I'm just confused because based on what you just said, he was asking for a place at the table, not to make the decision, but to be inclusive of those who are responsible. And I didn't hear that. I heard you be respectful of saying thanks for your comments, but I didn't hear an invitation to the table, and I'm confused why
There's a
our
standing,
leaders wouldn't be
no, of course,
part of
there's a
that.
standing invitation. There's a standing invitation, but this isn't happening tonight. This is the first time the council has met on this. So it's a process.
So going forward, then,
If we decide to go forward, yes, of course. Of course, absolutely.
All right, Tony Morfett, 26 John Legal Cliffs. What authority would this director have? What would he do? How would he override the chief? How would he override Ramones? What would he do with the
Okay.
police department?
I'll make one point to this, and then the borough council will
Okay.
address it. You know how I'm always saying I want to take the politics out of the workplace? You've heard this, right? One thing that would certainly get solved here is no one could accuse me of bringing charges against anyone because of politics. I would surrender that authority to a public safety director or a police director. Em?
Yeah. And I think the mayor's made it clear, there's no ordinance yet, we're just opening a discussion.
No, I understand.
So, one of the things that a public safety director first of all, there's an issue as to whether we would include the fire department, which is a volunteer fire department that seems to be operating with no issues. There has been no determination for sure that the fire department would be included. We did send the chief a notice about this, as we did to the police chief, the fire chief, OEM.
That's not my question.
So,
My
yeah,
question is,
I know, I'm
what's
just
the
laying the
authority?
groundwork for answering to you. So, the public safety director, as it can be envisioned, would be over the various public safety elements of the borough. That would be the Office of Emergency Management, the police department, perhaps the fire department, the fire official, which is really governed by a fire code, and ambulance services. Now, for example, ambulance services we contract with. So what would the public safety director do? He would manage presenting that contract or negotiating that contract and then presenting it for borough approval.
But my
So,
question isn't that.
yeah,
Let's say the public guy who takes over whatever
yeah.
has an argument with the chief of police.
Well,
Now what?
okay, so
That's what I want to know. What's his
the public
position?
safety
Was it saying,
director,
I said it, and that's it?
okay, well,
50
the
grand a
public,
year or 100 grand a year?
the public safety director will be given authority, which is managerial, executive in nature, which has to do with setting policy rather than daily, day-to-day functions or things that are normally in the Chief's Bill of Rights, the statute that is the Chief's Bill of Rights. Those are functions that he will continue to do. The public safety director, in context of the police department, would in fact be looking for doing managerial functions, including management of litigation, including production of discovery, including contract processing. The chief and the department have a lot of contracts. They can sit, there was one sitting on my desk for 3 weeks now that the chief needs me to do. This is something that the public safety director can sign off on and get up to the borough clerk for inclusion on an agenda instead of waiting for maybe a lawyer to review where the lawyer doesn't need to review. That's the kind of thing a public safety director can do. Policy and procedure, that means setting the policy and procedure, not enforcing policy and procedure. That's the chief's job. The chief's job is a daily, setting schedules, making sure protocol is filed with respect to investigating crime.
My question is, what if he disagrees with the chief, or he disagrees with the fire, or he disagrees with anybody? What's his authority?
I understand.
That's what I
His
want.
authority is to overrule in areas of policy and procedure, management, and executive function. So does he overrule those under him?
So-
Yes.
In other
Are
words-
there instances where he needs to come to the mayor and council on that?
So
Absolutely.
in other words, what we really need him for is for these frivolous, or whatever you want to call them, lawsuits that are
Well,
lying around.
it's really not...
That's basically what you need him for, because if I want a stop sign on my street, he can't do it.
No, he can't put a stop
So
sign.
I'm gonna pay him $50,000 to worry about how many lawsuits, or is our insurance company gonna drop us because we have too many policies that are in default, or whatever the hell you wanna call it?
There is a tremendous amount of litigation for a small town
It's a joke.
and a small
It's
borough.
it's gone beyond the pale, we all know that.
I understand.
It's gone beyond the pale.
Yeah. Yes, I understand. He needs to set the procedures for that.
But that's an important thing to explain to the public.
Well, what,
Who would
Okay.
be giving this out presently in the case that we're in? We don't have any.
yeah, managing the litigation would be one of the
Okay,
aspects.
listen, this is a question that I'm the official, I wanna know what this guy's gonna do for $50,000 or $100,000 a year.
Well, no salaries been discussed.
Please.
Part-time, full-time hasn't
Even
been
that aside, I'm
discussed.
only throwing a number.
Yeah,
Doesn't make a
I
difference
understand.
what the number is.
I understand.
It's what the man's actually, and what's his authority, and does he carry a hammer?
Oh, yes.
Or is he carrying a feather?
I mean,
He's
this is what we
carrying,
wanna know.
he's carrying a hammer in certain instances and a lighter hammer in other circumstances.
Right, and more importantly, he's carrying the rule of law. And no one on this council swung a knife, made anyone cry, did anything like alleged, okay? But we have to deal with it. And we have to start dealing with it somewhere. And this is where we're starting.
Okay, then I have another question, which is, set this aside, you're missing from 70 to 74 in this package.
Yes,
Why?
because we needed to discuss them in closed session and then come out here and do an oral motion on
We
it.
were actually just testing to make sure you're paying
Then
attention.
I have another question for you.
Yes.
There's about 3 members to the Lions Club, or whatever the hell it is. Why are you renting it? Why
Uh,
not do something with the money?
you will hear the motion and then you can get your answers through that.
Okay, thank you.
I do understand that.
Or can you check it?
That's for someone else.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, David. You're next.
I'm sorry?
Andrew Nick, 54 Elm Street.
I did just say that. I'm sorry, sir. What's your name?
Andrew Nick,
Hi.
54 Elm Street. I'm also a volunteer firefighter, as is my brother, family affair. As many other of the volunteers in the department are familiar relationship. We have sons and fathers, and brothers and sisters, etc. Last meeting, I spoke and I said I was, really turned off by the toxic nature of politics in this country. There is a problem. You guys are right, there is a problem, and it's clearly, as a taxpayer, it's clearly not the right path we're going down. But you know what, it's also a two-way street in terms of, lawsuits are a two-way in nature. It's an adversarial system, there's, each person has a side to everything. And we need to find a better way to do this. And I think before you guys go and hire or look at the creation of whatever you want to do, what's missing in this town is the ability to talk to one another. Now, clearly I've been a partisan in the past, maybe I still am, maybe I'm not, I don't know what I am right now. But there's just this unwillingness to just sit down at the table and talk. And I think that before we, with all due respect, I'm sorry,
Anne Marie.
Anne Marie, before
Or
we
borough
pay-
attorney.
Borough attorney, before we pay you additional thousands of dollars, which I'm sure you wouldn't mind to do this, maybe you guys can sit down at the table and talk to the police officers, talk to the firemen, whoever you want to include in this, and find out. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't want to pay any more of your salary than I have to, and I don't think anybody else in this room does. And I think that it's time that some of the people up here, swallow their pride or swallow their ego and start talking to the people that are dressed in blue, that wear the badge, their bosses, their management, whatever it is. You guys are all adults, you can come up with a solution, and that's what we elected you to do, so do it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Evening, Dave Gregorio, 165 Charlotte Place. Mr. Mayor, I honestly, with all due respect, your little speech in the beginning was really disappointing, because if you really wanted to be effective, I think you would have started with an apology, and you would have said some things that would have really demonstrated that you want to get serious. You have not demonstrated that you want to get serious. You have demonstrated that you want to control at our expense at $50,000, $100,000. Since you took over, we have added to the payroll. The town ran very well before, and I think everyone in this room knows what the root cause, or most people have an idea, I don't know exactly, what the root cause of this discontent is. And you know also. You know. And you're not being honest. And that's what it takes. If you want to get along, it takes honesty. And unfortunately, you don't have the courage, or you haven't demonstrated it yet. And that's very disappointing. As a leader, sometimes you need to apologize. Sometimes you need to say things that are really from the heart. I don't know if you have that ability. I hope you do. Next question, Lions Club. What is this with the Lions Club? It looks like a crack house. Can I get a little information about what that building is?
Yeah, sure, I'll go. There's been a request by the Lions Club to renew a lease that has long expired. The mayor and council will have a motion later on and an oral resolution. They want a lease with certain provisions in it. The council has instructed me on, and will authorize me to negotiate, etc. The anomaly there is that we own the land, but they own the structure. And that needs to be dealt with in an appropriate manner. The lease was maybe 40 years old, and it expired maybe 30 years ago. There was a written letter that I remember in the file, just one letter, I think from a former mayor, that extended the lease.
From Mayor
But
Parisi.
okay, so it's never been to the council in years.
Okay.
They want to renew, and there is some discussion about the condition of the building as well.
Well, I would imagine it needs to be condemned or something like that, but I don't want to hurt the Lions Club. And in fact, if there was anyone to contact, I wouldn't even mind joining the Lions Club. There's no...
Turn the corner.
It's right behind you.
They'll sign up.
Great, maybe we can reinvigorate the Lions Club. But it should be, and with all due respect to the members, let's do something. Let's put every other town has the signs put up, join, meets here and whatever. So I think either reinvigorate it, or let's use it for a library or something that's useful for the town. Or let's get the Lions Club to help fund the library for the town, for our residents, among all the other good work that they do. So either way, I think that it's a good thing that that's coming to light. Again, I want to repeat that I think the little speech that the mayor made in the beginning was not adequate. It didn't go far enough. And I really encourage you to hold up the mirror, all of you, and really see what you can do. Leadership goes from the top to the bottom. It starts at the top, and you're the example. And you could bridge that. And I had hopes for you in the beginning.
I know you did.
And I honestly say I'm really disappointed.
I actually did restrain myself. So I just think you're misinformed, and I appreciate your comments, but you are misinformed, very misinformed. Okay?
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Russell Perino at 220 Fairview Avenue. Sorry, I missed the past couple of meetings.
Welcome back.
I'm back. First, I urge the mayor and council to ignore the personal attacks that are made to the mayor or anybody else here. It speaks more to the person that's making the attacks than it does to anybody that's trying to do their job. And I urge you not to even respond. It's not worthy of it. Secondly, I've noticed something over the past few months. I came up with an acronym. It's getting old. And the letters stand for obstruction, or obstructing, litigation, and I'm going to do it again. Sorry. Obstruct, litigate. Excuse me. Obstruct, litigate, divide. And there seems to be a common goal, a common thread in many of the comments that are made here each night over a period of months and months that I've attended these meetings. And it all starts here. And if the members of the public that are supporting, let's say, some of these litigants and these plaintiffs, they can have a conversation and say, you know what, you're affecting my taxes too. And if the appointment of an individual may actually save the borough money to deal with all this senseless litigation, and it saves potentially legal fees. You're paying someone to do something not at a legal rate, but at a lower rate because this person's going to be on the payroll. It may not have to be forever, but until this issue is taken care of, and these plaintiffs, one by one, the cases are either settled, which I do encourage if it can be done, or litigated, you may need someone to be stepping in the middle of this. It's not the mayor's job, it's not the council's job to be trying to work through these lawsuits one by one. It's a full-time job. I can imagine what it's like. It's not one. So I think those that support this litigation, the plaintiffs, let's say, not so much the litigation, but the plaintiffs that are making these arguments, they should be talking to their friends and their neighbors. Because I believe that the mayor and this council, if they had the right to, the ability to settle any of these cases, they would do it here and now. And I think that would be the goal here. I hope it is. But if they don't want to settle, let some of the people in this room go to their friends and say, listen, we don't want to be spending this money to defend these suits. They're frivolous. We all know it, and it'll come up in November like they do every year. And, that's my own opinion. That's when you'll see that they'll try to make the papers with them. It's silly. It's costing us all money. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just to pick up on that, Mr. Perino actually has a good point. I mean, our democracy is threatened every time we get sued over frivolous matters. Your democracy is threatened. And for me, democracy is priceless. So we're going to see this through, and that's it. Anybody else?
Mary O'Shea, 12 Irving Avenue. First of all, I'd like to thank the sitting mayor and council, all the members, for their service. And all the years that people put in the past, ex-council people, ex-mayors, everyone, I hope, tries to do the best job they can. Sometimes you make mistakes, sometimes I don't agree with various portions, but I do believe that most of the time you try to do what you feel is right for the town and right for the citizens. And in the same vein, I support the police department. They've always been there when I needed them. The fire department, the same. But I know I've read in the record lately, there were other towns also that were considering a public safety officer. I thought Edgewater and it was Bergenfield or Dumont or someplace. A couple of towns I had read articles in the record. So it's not a new concept, because I know years ago, 25 years ago approximately, Joe Delaney, who retired as a police chief in Paramus, went up to Ramsey and was police director up there. Because he couldn't be a chief because he was collecting a pension as a chief, so he's a police director. But, there might be necessary to have someone that can take care of a lot of the details that are connected to all these lawsuits, to make sure that things are given out the way they're supposed to be given out. I know when Chief Farley was there, I know he was always trying to get grants and contracts and stuff. There's a lot of different aspects of things that can be done, and maybe they are being done, but it might be better to have somebody in between level to handle it. I'm not against it. I'm not thrilled with seeing another salary, but in the long run, it might be cheaper than lawsuits and legal bills and settlements. It's just outrageous. We are a laughing stock. I mean, you meet somebody and they, oh, I read about your town. Oh my God, what's going on over there? I mean, there has to be an end to it. There has to be an end to it. So I hope that fair-minded members of the council will put their heads together and come up with a good solution for this and be able to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hold on a second, there's other people that...
Ms.
want-
Geiger, yes.
Karen Geiger, 270 Alfred. First of all, the function of coordinating lawsuits and providing information to the appropriate people, the various plaintiffs and defendants, should be codified and part of the borough clerk's function. And I really don't understand why the borough clerk, who no longer has the administrative functions, but is a full-time job, can't handle this effectively and set up the appropriate procedures for handling litigation, if that is the main and real purpose of your public safety director position. The other item, I wish to ask Anne Marie, or our attorney, I'm sorry, this is too high. I want to know where in the Open Public Meetings Act do you find the justification? I believe the Open Public Meetings Act is NJSA 10412. Which exemption do you feel was appropriately used to allow the borough to meet in closed session to discuss a position?
I'm sorry? The motion was read into the record.
The motion just said that you were discussing it. I want to know where.
I'm sorry, the motion said more than that.
In NJSA 10.4, which of the 9 exceptions did you invoke in order to allow discussion in closed session about the establishment of a position?
Pending or anticipated litigation and/or contract negotiation and/or matters falling within... Excuse me, you're interrupting me. You're interrupting me. And/or matters falling within the attorney-client privilege, and we're not going to reveal the discussions that we had, and they are appropriate under the Open Public Meeting.
But which section did you use? In which exception? There are 9 exceptions. They're very specific.
The motion sets forth the reason, pending or anticipated litigation, and/or contract negotiation, and/or matters falling within the attorney-client privilege.
And how does a position fall within the contract negotiation or attorney-client privilege? Or any of the others? How does it do that?
When I'm not here for cross-examination by you, but certainly they do fall within that. That's our position. Thank you.
Can you tell me which of the 10 litigations that are currently pending? There aren't 10 on your... So can you tell me which of the 10? Just itemize the 10 open litigation against the borough.
You know, I forgot to mention the one that you're a plaintiff in.
Yes, and I don't consider it frivolous. At all.
If she's costing you money every week.
Yes,
That's all I
I
can
am.
say.
And maybe if you followed appropriate procedures and the rule of law, you wouldn't have the litigation that you have. And if you look at the police litigation, there are common
I think you've had it
threads
up.
and similar
Thank you.
officers involved.
have my 3 minutes.
Thank you. No, we're not doing 3 minutes. We're
So
just
perhaps
becoming
you should look
redundant.
to yourselves for the reason that there are 10 litigations sitting here before the borough, and not look to spend more money to put a damper on the police and the fire department who protect us and who we had no problems with and no concerns with before you came to power.
Thank you. Okay. Yes.
Well said.
Lori, 4 Drive. First, I'd like to address Councilwoman O. Councilwoman O, I was really disturbed by your attempt to suppress public discussion of public matters. For a couple of reasons. A, because you tried to suppress public discussion of public matters, and B, because you apparently haven't read these lawsuits.
What are you talking about? What are you referring to?
You tried to get the mayor to stop discussing the lawsuits.
Yeah, because he was talking about pending litigations, and I just wanted to protect the borough.
Nonsense. He was discussing things.
I didn't want another lawsuit coming on. I was addressing the borough attorney.
Nonsense.
Councilwoman O, the citizen has the floor.
He was discussing things that were in complaints. Complaints that any individual, including a trained lawyer such as yourself, can obtain from PACER if they're a federal lawsuit, at the civil case room at the courthouse in Hackensack if they're a state lawsuit, or by making a request online from the state for the lawsuit. And everything he said I've read, because apparently, unlike you, I've actually read the lawsuits. And I know that Ms. Geiger is making a big deal about all of the ones and how wonderful things were. Apparently, she's forgetting some of the previous lawsuits involving the police. For example, B.B. Khan. That's the one where the plaintiff alleged that the police department failed to investigate sexual abuse of a minor. Let's see, we've had a whole bunch of them from citizens alleging that their rights are violated, and we have one still pending. But Mrs. Geiger is forgetting about those.
She's left the room.
Second, I wrote a letter to the council, which I haven't noticed any of you mentioning. Councilman Aversa and Councilman O, you were on the council when this incident occurred. What are you going to do about it?
What incident?
When the minutes were inaccurately reported. They portrayed me in a false light, they're defamatory, and they exposed the borough to litigation, and you guys both voted in favor of them. Why you did, I don't know, because the meeting was taped, and you could have easily checked the books, and you should have given what they said. I think one or the other of you needs to make a motion to have the borough administrator pull the tape and review the tapes in comparison to the minutes. And I realize you can't do that now because we're in a public session, but I would expect you to do that because defaming citizens in meetings is an attempt to suppress public discussion, not legitimate use of government resources.
Anybody else?
Deborah Savard, 106 Hollywood Avenue. I have to agree that these lawsuits have been going on forever. As long as I've lived in Englewood Cliffs, there's always been lawsuits going back and forth between council, police officers. Let me finish, please. What's happening now, first of all, I'd like to understand this officer, what type of an education do they have to have? Are they previously police officers? Like, what qualifies them?
We're not doing it.
Well, you're presenting Clarence, so I just want to understand.
No, we're not.
No. This is a discussion about a problem and how we solve it. One of the ways might be hiring a public safety director or a police director.
So the public safety director, you would expect him to stop people from suing?
Or her.
Or her?
Yeah,
I'm
or
sorry,
her.
I wasn't being gender specific. So,
No, it would
this
actually...
person would have the authority, like, if I wanted to sue, I'm going to sue.
No, you're missing the point.
So
I'm going to
you're
let the
saying that
borough...
this will stop the lawsuits that are going on?
No. This will set a policy within the police department to restore law and order, the rule of law, and professionalism, so that the people who work there come to work, feel free to do their jobs, and not feel any undue influence or pressures, and have good policies to follow, okay? That's what we're trying to obtain here.
So
If you look at all the lawsuits that I listed, if you read the fact patterns there, those are all internal police department issues. They're all unsafe workplace
And
claims.
you're saying they're political. Well, they're not
No,
all.
no,
There are others.
it's police officer against police officer.
Like
No, I'm not.
I mean, there are...
No, those are different.
Talk about Karen.
Those are
But
different.
the reality is that Eastwood also is suing. So, I mean, in all
No, she's
fairness...
not. No, she's not. You're making that up. You're making that up now, okay? That's fake news.
Okay.
Fake news. She's not suing.
Okay.
No one on this council, by the way, is suing either. Okay? No one here.
No longer.
No one ever
You're saying that
did.
no one on that council has ever sued.
I never did. Anybody here ever
I'm not
sued?
referring to you.
I never sued.
No one ever did.
Referring me.
Okay?
Okay. What else?
What
else? Because you're here to be political, so let's go.
No.
Come on,
No,
let's go.
That's really not fair. You constantly say that because that's what would make you happy. You only represent the people who are politically
Mr.
involved.
DiGregorio, she has the floor. You
Okay.
had the floor,
When I
okay?
ask questions, I never get an answer. So I'm going to ask again from the last meeting. I asked you, Carol, what the monetary value was of the tax appeal that needs to be paid on April 15th. I asked the question to...
And I still
that
have
we
not
that-
gotten an answer.
Do you have that
Can you tell me
breakdown
what
of
that is? It's due in a few
Okay.
days.
Okay.
That's fine.
It's due in a few days. Like, how do we not know what that is? I mean, it's a fair question, right?
It is a fair
It's not
question,
political. Anybody on this council can answer me. It doesn't have to be
Hold on,
Carol.
did you get the documents, right?
I got the documents, there was no
Oh,
monetary value.
Can't you just, I mean, if you
I
multiply,
came
I'm trying to
here-
help you to find the answer. If you multiply by the rate that's in there, will it give you the number that you're looking for?
No, it goes back many years.
Okay.
So I would have to look at the tax rate for all the previous years to calculate what that is. Why should you have to do that? You have to issue a check in 3 days.
Okay, then I guess when we issue, see, under Oprah, we cannot create a document, right? So if we can't create a document, how do I get you that answer?
How are you paying it in 3 days if you don't know what the dollar value is? How is it in
I'm
the
gonna ask
budget if
Borough-
you don't know what the dollar
I'm gonna
value
ask
is?
Lizette to answer that question for you, or the borough attorney. I mean, that's not under,
It's not under
I don't
finance?
sign the check. No, Debbie, I do not sign
You
the check
assured
for
me
the
that it's in
borough.
the budget. How can you assure me that it's in the budget for 2017 if you don't know what the dollar
Because the CFO, who works for us, told the council that the money is in the budget.
I'm sorry if I can't
I mean,
respect
I
that. He
can't,
also
you know,
said that there was 295.
I'm not gonna allow you
previous
to
year.
talk about borough employees.
Okay.
Can't do that.
You
Can't do
cannot
that.
do that. Mayor,
Can't do that.
cannot allow that.
Can't do that. We can't talk about borough
We
employees.
can't talk about borough
Okay.
employees, because that will be another lawsuit.
Okay, so how are we as residents supposed to feel comfortable that it's in the budget if this council, nobody can tell me what line item in the budget exists this payment that has to be made in 3 days?
You know what, he's coming April 18th, right, Lizette?
Yes.
Okay, then we will ask him directly. We cannot create documents for you, but if the clerk wants to somehow figure out how she can find that answer out, I don't know what else. I got you all the papers you wanted, now you want them
You
calculated.
have, no, I asked you at the last meeting.
Please, one of your residents has the floor.
You have a budget. I've been reviewing
Hold on a
the
second,
budget.
hold on a second. Take it outside, folks. If you can't get along inside, go outside, because you can't do this, okay? The resident has the floor, please.
I'm just
Go ahead, Mr.
trying
Murray.
to understand the budget that exists that we're going to be talking about and voting on the 18th. Okay, so I would like to understand, in that budget, where is this money and how much is it that is in the budget to pay for this tax appeal? That's what I want to know. What line is it in, so that I can ask the questions to the auditor? It's not clear. It's not black and white.
I will ask the CFO.
Okay, thank you. Will somebody get back to me before the 18th?
I-
Can I call you?
I can't say that I'll have that
Or can I
answer.
call Chris, or?
No, they're not allowing that.
Okay. So who's going to get back to me?
I will get the answer for you by the budget meeting.
So I have to wait until the 18th to find out where it is.
It's 4 days, 5 days from now.
Okay. And just keep asking.
It is a holiday week, it's a holiday weekend too, right?
I asked the question a month ago, pal. Okay.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, Maria Valari, 45 Main Drive. Okay, it was very great to hear Mr. Nick now that he's not so partisan anymore. I kind of like him now, you know. He made a lot of sense in what he said. The only problem is that everyone here, including Mr. DiGregorio and everybody, is saying that we should all be talking to each other. You should talk to each other, they should talk to you. And no one is actually realizing that all these lawsuits, which are public record, anybody can go and get a copy of any complaint once it's filed, that all these complaints are not something that we could talk about. This is internal. This is going on, whatever is going on needs to be resolved. And I, for one, am happy to see that you may be thinking of hiring someone to maybe, get a hold on things. I don't think anybody's above the law. I don't care who it is. So I hope that somehow we get a grip on what's going on. It seems to me, I've been coming to a lot of meetings, and we never had all these issues about police and firemen, and because it seemed like everybody was on board with whoever was sitting up there. And I'm really upset that it's constant attacks against you guys, meeting after meeting after meeting, because we're not happy with who's sitting up there. And this is what has to stop. The conversations needs to be, let's accept who's there and let's work with them. And that's my concern. Also, in all the meetings that I've ever attended in this town, while Mr. Parisi was sitting up there, would throw anybody out if they were talking. I could barely hear what's going on here because of all the conversations that are going on. Extremely disrespectful to the people sitting up there and to the people who want to hear what's being said. Thank you.
Okay, have a motion to close public session, please. Second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
I just...
All in favor?
You said I could go afterwards, I had something.
No, I didn't say that. You already went.
Constructive.
All in favor?
Dave DeGroyle, 165 Charlotte Place.
Go
My
close.
suggestion-
Go close.
You want discussion?
No, sit down.
You are...
No, you had your chance. You had your chance. We're done. We're done.
List all of the laundry on the wall next meeting.
Chief, please send in a police officer.
I don't need that, I'll leave myself.
Thank you.
Good night. I wouldn't give you the
Thank you.
satisfaction.
Thank you. By the way, folks, I will stay after the meeting. If anyone does want to have a discussion with me on anything, I will sit at that table for a few minutes. Feel free to come up and talk to me. Cheryl moved.
And who second? All in favor?
Okay. So, by the way, folks, missed in all that is that we are a very fortunate town, very blessed town. We don't have a fraction of the problems that the rest of the world is dealing with, okay? We should be grateful for it. We manufacture our problems here, and I'm going to unmanufacture them, okay? Oh, you know what, we need to talk to one individual, the home...
Sam from 655 Floyd.
Sorry, Sam, I almost forgot you. You had to raise your hand.
It's going to be hard to follow.
I would have gladly picked you. I would have gladly
I'm sure you wanted
picked
to
you.
raise your hand.
No, it was insightful. I am the owner, my wife and I are the owners at 655 Floyd. We purchased the home last year. It's gone through some renovations. I've been told that when we purchased the home, there was a bluestone back patio. There's some pictures.
This is the existing.
That was the state, the condition of the home when it was purchased. It was in need of significant repairs. It's a bluestone patio area, uneven, lots of cracks, just not maintained over the years. And right now, we're in the process of replacing that patio from the bluestone to, I believe it's paper blocks. The actual space is not being enlarged. It is just replacing the material, taking the old cracked bluestone out, replacing it with paper blocks. I've been told that there is an easement.
Okay, let me, because the council is going to entertain a resolution shortly. This, for members of the public, this is with regard to item number 74 in the resolution section of the agenda. Sir, are you asking the mayor and council to entertain a resolution allowing your patio over the easement?
Yes.
Okay. That will be entertained, okay?
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to add? I mean, we have all the details.
You have all the details. Okay, well, I do have the almost finished picture. As you can see, the square footage is the same of the patio. It's not being enlarged. It's more of a health and safety. I have a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. The existing material was uneven and cracked.
Yeah, somebody in the door there.
This is the current. So, you and I discussed, and I reviewed this with Mr. Neville. How do you say your last name? Neville. Okay. Mark, I call him. We discussed, this is our DPW superintendent. I also discussed this with building. You are looking to have your patio, a new patio, exactly where the old patio was, correct?
Correct.
And the encroachment over the easement area is, there's an easement the borough has, in the backyard of your property and other neighboring properties for a sewer line. Okay. So you are willing to sign a hold harmless agreement allowing the borough to do any necessary changes to repair or maintain the sewer line?
Correct.
And you understand that that hold harmless agreement means DPW comes in, might have to tear up your yard, and will not have to pay to have it put back again. You have to pay to put it back again. Okay, as long as you understand all that. And you're asking that you're beautifying the entire exterior, this is part of that.
It is, yes.
It looks very nice. What I may suggest is, has anybody inspected that line? It's maybe better to do it now, before you put in all that work. Just that, because you look like you're doing a very nice job here, but, and of course, if it's only if it's an emergency, the town will have to do something. And, I just thought maybe there's a way to just test a few things. But we'll take care of it.
And the easement is just a small, maybe 1/3
It goes to about a third
of the easement area. It's not over the entire easement area, so it's probably on the side of the pipe.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we try, can we have a vote on that now?
Yeah,
Ahead of everything else, and then that way he doesn't have to stay here for this one?
Okay, I'm going to state this resolution orally, and someone needs to make a motion as I stated and second it as I stated. So this would be...
Okay.
No, that's okay, we'll take you out of order.
74.
This is resolution number 74, is to authorize the encroachment of the easement that exists at 655 Floyd Street in the rear of the property for the property owners, subject to a proper hold harmless and waiver agreement to be executed between the property owner and the borough. Borough attorney to take care of paperwork.
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Done. All right, thank you.
Just give me a phone number. Thank you.
You don't have to leave if you don't want to.
You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to stay.
Just give it to... Yeah, that's Mark.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have to vote on that. We have to vote on that. I already made a motion, and I don't want to get sidetracked. We have to vote now.
We took the whole...
All in favor?
We took the whole thing.
74.
Oh, we all said aye.
Yes,
All in favor.
All right, fine. We'll vote.
It's a
Council-
resolution. It's a resolution.
Councilperson Aversa?
Yes.
Going with the pass.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes?
McMorro?
Yes.
Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, so you're one of the few people that are unanimous, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Come more often. Okay, so let's do the other resolutions.
Okay.
We'll do one at a time.
Okay. Resolution 2017, number 67, authorize mayor to sign lease agreement with Conica Minolta. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes?
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Great, thank you. We can now print at the borough. 68,
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
You sure?
I have a question on this resolution, but what are you...
I was just going to say,
Authorize use of County Construction Board of Appeals. Do you need an explanation?
Yes, I'd like to know if there's any cost to the borough for using the county appeals?
None whatsoever. It's rather than us doing it, and we did have a board, it's just dissolving our board and utilizing the county. Okay. May I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes?
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Resolution 69, approval of raffle license for Sisters of St. Joseph of Peace. Motion?
So moved. Second.
Councilpersons Aversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes?
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Number 70, authorize mayor to sign agreement for use of Palisades Park Pool for summer camp. I need a motion.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Number 71 will be read by the borough attorney, as well as 72 and 73.
Right. This was the subject of closed discussion. With respect to the Lions Club, the resolution and the motion is being changed to authorize the borough attorney to negotiate and draft a lease with the Lions Club with standard lease provisions as well as specific provisions having to do with condition of the property and other items that are in consideration due to the fact that the ownership is with the borough and the building is with the Lions Club. So that's authorizing borough attorney to negotiate and draft. The lease will come back to the council for approval when we are done.
We need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
E. Park. Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
72, please.
72 is authorizing payment by the borough for the copay for emergency room services under the collective bargaining agreement for the PBA of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs. The payment to be the difference between $25, which is stated in the collective bargaining agreement, and $50 for the year 2016, and the difference between $25 in the collective bargaining agreement and $75 in the year 2017. And basically, the motion is this: authorizing the borough to meet its obligations under the collective bargaining agreement to pay the difference between the emergency room fee as it was and between the price as it was and what the state increased it to.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Number 73, please.
Yes, this is a resolution that is going to put into effect a policy having to do with public improvements and easements that happen to be located on or under private property. The policy of the borough will be that there should be no permanent construction over those easements. This grandfathers in existing conditions, but requires the borough council's, mayor and council's approval for any structure over easements owned by the borough.
I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
We did 74 already.
Correct. 75, tax appeal settlement, Block 1104, Lot 9. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
Resolution 76 has been tabled.
Actually, don't you need a motion to table that?
Okay.
Make a motion to table that.
Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
We're doing all in favor now.
Mhm.
Aye.
Okay. 77, authorize mayor to sign lease agreement with Action Data Services. I need a motion.
So moved.
I'm sorry, who was that? Okay.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
78, approval of dedication by rider for affordable housing. I need, second?
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro,
Yes.
M. Park,
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
79, approval of dedication by rider for police donations. I need a motion?
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro,
Yes.
M. Park,
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
80, oppose U.S. Guard establishment of Hudson River anchorages.
Say what?
So moved. Second.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro,
Recuse.
Woo. I'm sorry, M. Park,
Yes. Yes.
Woo. Thank you.
So that resolution actually relates to the contemplated action by the United States Coast Guard to open up the Hudson River to become a basic warehouse for oil coming down the river. What's happened, the federal law has changed, and for the first time in American history, and we're, as Americans, permitted to export oil. So the oil that would come down the river actually starts off in North Dakota, goes on rails, comes to Albany, goes into barges, and then comes down the river. So what was requested of the Coast Guard by the Ship Owners Association was that they permit the ship owners to store their oil in barges along the river. There's some anchorages existing right now, but this would be many more, about 10 more. There's one actually already in front of Englewood Cliffs, but thankfully they don't use it that much. Although, when we're trying to get this picture done, there was a barge parked in front of it for days, and Ramon, who took the photo, had to wait for the barge to move. Eventually it did. So, a couple of years ago, we learned all about the view shed and the high-rise issue in the cliffs, so now we have an issue at the bottom of the cliffs with the river. So the argument is, look, you could just bring the oil down to the port and put it on land storage in silos and tank farms. It's a little more expensive, rather than using the public waterway as your warehouse. So I had a meeting that I hosted at Borough Hall with the mayors of Alpine and Tenafly and the president of Scenic Hudson. We met for about an hour. They discussed their strategy for dealing with this. I've got calls down to Fort Lee and Edgewater as well. So we're trying to just band together. Westchester's already come on board. We're doing our resolution tonight. Tenafly and Alpine will do theirs as well. In addition to just the view that would be obstructed, it's more hazardous to shipping, to leisure boats, and also a higher chance of pollution, which finally the river's gotten to a point where it's cleaner, and doing this is going to jeopardize that. So I'll keep you posted.
Excellent.
Yes.
81, accept donation of an Armenian flag. I need a motion.
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro,
Yes.
M. Park,
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
82, authorize hiring of summer camp directors. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Councilpersons Aversa,
Yes.
E. Park,
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro,
Yes.
M. Park,
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
83 will be added by the borough attorney.
And I think I might have an 84, I'm not sure. So let me state 83 for the record. This is with respect to the matter of Navarro versus the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, docket number BERL 548-17. Authorize the borough attorney to take, where did I write that?
To take all necessary and appropriate action.
Please state it. Go ahead.
To take all necessary and appropriate action, including counterclaims and other charges of ethics violations.
with respect to that pending litigation.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Wait, can you repeat the motion one more time? I'm sorry.
Oh, you know what, that's off the tape at this point, you don't want to say it wrong. If you say it different than what you just said.
No, the mayor wrote it down.
I'm never going to repeat that the same way.
Okay.
Yeah, just,
It was,
you have to take it up and say,
It doesn't have to be word for word, but
well, it's for the borough attorney to take all necessary or appropriate action in the Favaro Geiger Simons case against the borough in order to be able to lodge counterclaims or other ethic violations by a former council of the borough.
We have a motion and I have a second. Councilperson Zaversa?
I'd abstain on that.
E. Park?
I'm going to abstain as well.
O.
abstain.
McMorro?
yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
3 abstentions and 3 yeses.
Yes, it passes, right? That's the majority of one. Yeah, it's a resolution. No, you're not breaking a tie.
No tie.
All right, it passes.
Are we doing an 84?
Oh, I need to ask the mayor or the council people, with respect to the public safety director, are we taking action to refer it for review to the police committee, or?
I'd like to have a motion to do that.
Well, I don't think you need a motion. Well, you could do a motion, but I don't think you need a resolution for that,
No,
right?
but in this town, I think you do.
Police?
Okay, you want a resolution?
Let's have a resolution.
Okay.
Take a motion.
Okay.
So I'll state it, and then someone, this is a resolution 84 to submit the issue of a public safety director or a police director to the police committee of the mayor and council for consideration and review back to the council.
To gather information, correct?
Gather information, meet with people, however you want to do.
I need a motion.
Meet with the police chief, the fire chief, whoever.
Councilman Wu made the motion. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Have a vote.
Councilperson Zaversa?
Yes.
E. Park?
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Wu?
Yes.
Okay, now we have a public hearing for the ordinance, Mayor?
Go ahead. Madam Clerk, would you please read that into the record? Actually, I'll do it. It's ordinance 2017-05, ordinance amending code for use of recreational facilities and required permits. This is the second reading, and it's a public hearing. Can I have a motion to open up to the public?
So moved.
Second?
All
All in favor? Okay, is there anybody from the public who wishes to be heard just on ordinance 2017-05? Ordinance amending code for use of recreational facilities and required permits. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address. Okay, seeing and hearing no one, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next ordinance is a first...
No, we have to vote on it.
Oh,
So let me now read it exactly by title. We have, so the resolution is ordinance 2017-05, an ordinance amending the code of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs to add provisions for use of recreational facilities and required permits. We need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Councilperson Zaversa?
No.
E. Park?
Voted the ordinance.
Yes.
O.
Yes.
McMorro?
Yes.
M. Park?
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
The next one is removed from the agenda, because I didn't get it back in time.
Okay,
Have a
so,
motion to table that?
So moved. No, it wasn't tabled, it just not, was the table, you didn't?
No.
No.
No,
it's
Not,
not.
it's removed from the agenda.
Right.
I didn't, the borough attorney not ready.
Okay.
so it's removed.
So that's removed.
It'll be on next.
That's fine.
1706.
Okay, 1706 has been removed from the agenda. We're up to committee reports on our agenda. Councilman Aversa, can you state your committee and give us a report?
Lighting, and I actually had a few requests from residents last month about,
Too much lighting?
yeah, basically. No, some people asked to have poles put up in front of their homes, light poles. So I reached out to PSE&G, and they haven't gotten back to me yet, but,
All right, well, if they don't, you and I can go do that tomorrow.
okay, thanks. We can put the poles in. I got a dig it.
Okay.
You guys want to borrow the ladder?
Yeah, we need to.
Councilwoman Clark?
Board of Health, we had no meeting the last month, so there's nothing new to report. No, that was that last month.
You got that. Councilwoman Hill?
Transportation, I think we have to come up with a way to get the word out to the community that this is a service that we provide to the seniors. I think a lot of the newcomers in town, they don't realize it, so I'd like to talk to maybe is it the Silver Citizens Committee? And even maybe what's the name of the other committee? So the international, the name's not coming to me,
Yeah, I know what
but
you're talking about. I know
the different, multi-ethnic, yeah. I think we need to get the word out there, because the newcomers, some of the residents don't even know that we have the senior center in town, so I think it's something that we need to get out there on the website. That's a good idea.
All right.
Thank you.
It's on there already, I think, right?
But taxi,
Maybe.
The taxi is.
Yeah, I think so.
It is.
maybe put it in the calendar.
Okay. Thank you. Is that it, Councilwoman Hill?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman McMorro?
Okay, thanks, Okay, I'm going to do the recreation stuff first. First, I want to thank, the Easter egg hunt was a great success. We had it last Saturday. I want to thank the entire mayor and council for coming out there and helping out to set up and coming out to support. It was greatly appreciated. We were up there from 7 and then 8, and then we had a big crowd, and it was great. And I think most important, the kids had a great time, and we ran out of all the eggs. We actually counted. I went back because you asked me for last year. We had more this year than last year, so that's a good sign. Community pass. I'm going to ask, I see one member of the press that's in the audience, and I'm going to ask for his help in the coming weeks to get the word out and possibly write a story about Community Pass. Community Pass will be up and running in about 4 to 6 weeks. And what that is, it's an online registration and payment management software system. It's something William and I took a webinar on it. We're working very closely with our new recreation director, Richard Casey, and what it's going to do is help the residents to be able to sign up online. We'll be able to understand how many people are signing up and categorize everything with the information that we're receiving, and then in turn better serve the residents. So we're excited about this because today's day and age, people want to be able to sign up online, and it's a great service. We will be offering the residents starting in 4 to 6 weeks, and we will be advertising this, and I hope the newspaper will make help us out and write a story about it as well. Little League opening day is April 29th at Woody Field. I encourage everyone to come out and support Little League, and also support all of our recreation programs. April 18th is our budget adoption hearing. It's been over 4 weeks since our last meeting. our budget was introduced, and today I was informed that the introduction was approved by several departments of the DLGS. I am again, for the, I think, fourth time, possibly fifth time, reaching out to every member of this council. If you have any questions, if you have anything to say, contact me. I haven't heard anything from anyone. I know 2 people voted no, and 1 person abstained. I just want to remind everyone to please, if you're voting no, you must have a reason that you're voting no. I haven't heard from you. I'd like to know why you're voting no. If there's something that maybe, you know, you have an idea of something that you want to let us know about, I'm here.
I did reach out to you, Carol.
Yes, you did.
I did want to,
No, you did, I said that last
I
meeting, you still
emailed,
voted no.
and your answer was to look at the video from the mayor council meeting. You didn't give me the details that I asked you
Actually-
for about the surplus.
Okay, actually, I responded to you immediately, I got you all your answers, I read them into the record, and you asked me to type them out for you.
You sent me
And I
a
was-
link to the video,
Yeah.
to the mayor council meeting, and you said, it's on the website, watch it for yourself.
I didn't say watch it for yourself.
No,
I did not. I would never speak that way, but
Okay.
so I got
So
you
I
your
did reach
answers.
out to you, so your statement is incorrect,
No,
and
it's
nobody
not.
reached out.
Absolutely not. I got you your answers. Okay, I got you your answers.
Okay, so you're gonna email it to me? You got me my answers
I
about the
read them into
surplus?
the record that night for you. What, do you want me to?
I watched the video and take notes.
Do you have a substantive issue? An issue of meaning, not procedure, regarding the budget? Because the reason I
Not right
asked...
now, but I did
No.
have a question, and I did reach
Okay.
out to her, so her statement about no one reaching out to her is incorrect.
No, I
Because
said in
that-
the last
yeah.
4 weeks, I haven't heard from anyone.
But that budget is just paramount importance to our children, the rec programs in there, to our seniors, to our employees. So I want the members of our council, if you have any issues, make sure you raise them before the 18th.
Exactly, thank you, Mayor. I'm also reaching out, Councilwoman Park. I know you had some questions about the cap ordinance. Have you gotten your answers to the questions in the cap ordinance?
For now, yes.
Okay, so you're comfortable with how it works, and you'll be able to vote and not, at the next meeting? Okay.
Yes, I'll be able to.
Thank you. So just whatever you need, just please reach out to me, and because April 18th is our budget meeting where we're,
Yeah.
looking forward
Actually,
to
I
it.
forgot to mention something. I just want to thank LG and H-Mart. I know we had our, I know we're talking
I'm in
about
the middle of
business.
my-
Oh, I'm sorry, do you want to finish?
That would go under new business.
We're going to do new
I guess.
business.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And, Mayor, the only other thing I wanted to add is in our recreation programs, Richard started, one of the things he started, we have Taekwondo, which is a new program. That's starting April 26th. We also have cheerleading, which we've never had before. And that is starting April 24th. So it's exciting. We have a lot of new programs that are starting, and I'm very excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Park?
Yes, planning board legislative business, each state application was conditionally approved, subject to install fire hydrant, lighting, pavement, and storm sewer. That is a conditional review of the planning board approval. And then we discussed about the new business for 28 Western Class, to build the new senior house. There is a keep continuing to discuss around this coming month, and we are expecting a couple more new applications this month. Small applications. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Wu?
Relative to the police committee, as the mayor mentioned, a replay ceremony was held on Thursday, April 6th, commemorating the line of duty death of Police Chief Fred Witt. Just want to thank the police chief, the mayor, and the chaplain for the very touching words that day. Fred Witt's legacy is going to live on with the Woody Clinic, which will start, Woody Baseball Clinic, which will start on April 22nd. It'll last for 5 weeks at the field. As it pertains to the Board of Education, the last meeting was on April 3rd. The most important topic was the topic of math for our Inglewood Cliffs students. They're trying to decide whether to go with Go Math or Singapore Math, and a recommendation has been provided by the Board of Education. There's going to be continued conversation with the parents. On DPW, April 3rd, the Mayor and Catherine Steinell, they held a meeting to discuss staffing issues with the DPW, a oil spill that's been cleaned up, and also snowplow issue during the major snowstorm we had last. Some of the paths at Woodfield were not cleared, and obviously the winter's over, so we'll make sure that next year we won't have the same problem.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Wu. In addition to the Whitty Clinic, the Whitty legacy continues in the name of the park on Johnson Ave, and will continue with that name, regardless of whether or not we renovate it or not. We'll always have that name. And I reassured the family, and they were very delighted to hear that.
Yes. Mayor, can I speak on old business?
Sure.
I just want to add to what has been said about the introduction of the budget and the introduction of the cap ordinance, which took place last month. The adoption is up for consideration on Tuesday, April 18th at 6 p.m. Council members, we do need 100% attendance. We need to adopt the budget by a majority vote of 4. An abstention will not be accepted by the DLGS. It's considered an abdication of duty if someone abstains on something without a legitimate reason versus voting either yes or no. So I do want council members to have their questions answered, preferably before that meeting, or be prepared to specifically point to issues that you haven't had answered so that we can get the positive vote, yes or no, on both the cap ordinance and the budget. It's really important because if the budget fails on Tuesday, it will embark this town on this borough on a long and unpleasant road, which can take many serious turns. I'm sorry, no public.
Thank you. Any other old business? Okay, a new business, Councilwoman Park, you had something that you want to mention?
Yes, I just wanted to thank LG and H Mart for their generosity. They donated some items for our, we have a Korean Children's Day festivity at school at North Cliff and Upper School, and they donated like a computer mouse to all the students, some backsacks, and some food. So I just wanted to thank them.
Very nice.
That's great. I have one thing to add also. On March 22nd, I attended a presentation at the upper school. It was given by a group that goes around teaching children to let go of grudges and move on. And I thought maybe we should bring them in here also. But it was actually very touching because the stories were firsthand of people who had lost hurt or family dysfunction. And they told their stories for the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They were captivated. No one stirred. The first person up, actually, I've known for 10 years. I had nothing to do with planning this, actually. I was invited as a guest, and then I saw that he was coming to speak, and it was this guy named Hashim Garrett. And I met Hashim about 10 years ago. We both received an award from the Guardian Angels in New York. My story was much different than his. Hashim actually was a 15-year-old who made some bad decisions. And, you know, it was a tragedy. He was shot 6 times, left for dead in Brooklyn, and walks with crutches. And he would walk with crutches for the rest of his life. And that's how he gave his presentation to the children. And it was so real. And he explained how bad decisions lead to bad results, and how you have to let go of the grudges. And what he does now, he actually goes around to schools with his group speaking to children. And after it was all over, yes, of course, there were cookies, which kept the kids around also, but the kids all had great questions, and they were talking to all the people who were presenting. So I was very happy to see that our school did that. I don't have anything else. Anybody else have any new business? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.